Only you had a motive for murder.
Yeah.
You want to kill me?
She was murdered.
You want to kill me?
What's going on, everyone? All right, we still got a few minutes. I'm a little early. It's okay. All right, so we do have a lot to cover today because I mean we did take a few days off, which I really appreciate you guys understanding the need for a few days off. If you guys did see the magazine that I launched today, it was a big proponent of why I needed some time off. As you'll see, I'm gonna have to clip that out. You guys I just totally doxed myself on YouTube. That will be the only time I edit anything out of a YouTube. Anytime. Anyway, so we had some interesting things happen with the banks. Where I believe it was in Lebanon. I hope someone can actually correct me if I'm wrong. But there is some banks that were going down, and they actually like boarded up their windows and everything. And I mean, it's kind of the same situation that we saw in China. And so it's actually pretty precarious in this in that sense. So as everyone knows, here in the U.S., we have the FDIC, right? And they cover up to $250,000 in your bank account. They're supposed to, and so that's a great thing that we have here. And a few other countries have the same situation, but not maybe not as much. Some countries have like 100,000 or so that they cover. But in these other countries that we're seeing, these banks just go under. They're closing, they're boarding up windows, they're closing doors and everything. They are not allowing people to get their money. Like these people that bank with these institutions, they have nothing anymore, and that's pretty terrible. So I mean, we're just starting to see a glimpse of it right now, and what is going on and whatnot. So hey, Tampa Kurt. Yeah, do you have anything to add to that real quick? No, not yet. Maybe. Heard FDIC has 20 years to pay. Yeah, it's not instant by any means. It's not instant by any means, and so, but at least it's there. And so, if we're looking at China, we're looking at all these other countries where the banks are starting to go under, and, people aren't able to get to their savings. Like, it could be just a precursor to what we're seeing in, other parts of the world, Australia or Germany, or even here in the States or up in Canada. So it's a little baffling to me. And then I don't know if anybody saw this. Let me move some stuff around. This came up on Apple News tonight. I can't remember. I have to look to actually see who posted it. Mick. So this is just a taste of what's to come. Let's see. It's Chrome. Yep. Kellogg's workers nationwide are walking out over grueling conditions. So here's a heads up. If you guys like Kellogg products, you might want to go get some. You might want to go out tomorrow or, the next day or so, and start stocking up, because, and if everyone remembers, a few months ago, I had mentioned that they were starting to try to get, a coordinated walkout on the 15th. October 15th was that set date. So the fact that we are kind of seeing things like this already, it doesn't surprise me in that sense. But it is, anybody that was working through the pandemic, and even now, with the labor shortage, I shouldn't say labor, the worker shortage, people not wanting to go back to the just terrible work conditions. It's going to keep happening. So their complaint echoes those of the workers who went on strike at another prominent company, Frito-Lay, back in July. And so it said something about... Yeah, there are also reports of workers being horrifically overworked. A mechanic who was working at the Lancaster factory, Lancaster, however you say it, different states, whatever, for 18 years... we're working 12 to 16 hours a day to meet the increased demand for cereal market. Williams, who's also the president of the local union, went on to add, I've worked for 2 years with no weekends off other than vacation days. You miss out on a ton of family time. Don't get to see the kids play sports. Don't see your spouse. So yeah, it's a... It's pretty interesting. So I think we're going to keep seeing these kinds of things happen, but people are just get overworked. They're so done right now. And I mean, we can't blame them. We really can't. Because at the end of the day, it's like, they God, I mean, think about it for a sec. To keep up with the demand. So this also goes along with the cargo ships, right? That are just kind of chilling out in the ocean, waiting to be unloaded and whatnot. And so from what I hear, and this is all hearsay, right? I don't work the docks. I don't know. I know we have a few people in our Discord and throughout the community that do work it down on the docks and stuff. Or at least close to them, and they could probably chime in a little bit more on this, but the hearsay that I hear is that, there's just too much. There's too much to unload, and, all these halts that they've had, coming into ports, and there's not enough workers to work the ports and offload the containers and whatnot. So it's hard to say what's happening, but it's, I mean, there's, ships carrying oil, there's ships carrying goods, there's ships carrying all kinds of different things that, we need, which is, if there's a short supply, because they're stuck on the ships, that's just driving the price up. Like we Hambone went to the store today. Imagine that, because he does all of our shopping, as you guys now know. Went to the store today, and, you know, one of his fun, easy foods is the Campbell's Chili Mac. Something that's simple for him to make for himself. What'd you say it was? $3? I think he said it was like over $3 today at Publix, which is kind of retarded. And they had only 3 cans. It had 3 cans of this at the store. That's it. They had, like, it was one row, and it wasn't like, you know, it was all out. They just had one row of 3 cans. So it's getting interesting. And, you know, price of milk, price of eggs, everything like that is just starting to rise in price. And, you know, I believe it was Costco, one of Costco's CEO or store managers or someone, I can't remember now. I've watched way too much this weekend. But he was even talking about, maybe it was the CEO of Costco, was talking about how, you know, they're not going to pay the extra cost of transportation and whatnot. He had flat out came out and said, yeah, we will be passing down that cost down by increasing the price of our goods. So that's, I mean, straight from the horse's mouth, right? Let's see. Evergrande missed their 3rd bond payment. That's good. That's always a nice thing to hear. I'm broke. That's the trick to the bank not being able to steal my money. Skinto, I can. That's a good way to put it. Texas governor passed an executive order. Companies cannot make you get the vaccine. Yeah, I did see that. There's a lot of back and forth, I'll say, you know, one side versus the other side on what that means and whatnot. So yeah, it's interesting. Let's see, what do I got here? Millennial Monk's coming up. What's going on, Monk?
Hello, testing.
Oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to turn you down.
Oh, my bad.
You were loud. Okay, what do you got for
Let
me?
me fix this real quick.
But yeah, so that's while he's fixing his stuff, that's kind of the interesting things that I had found. I do also have something that Hambone had found last night that he tweeted out, that I might try to read through, but it's long. Did I retweet it? No, I have not yet. I am retweeting it now. If you guys want to go check that out. The literal headline of it is like "Buckle up for World War III," and it actually makes a lot of sense. It ties a lot of this together. So somebody has definitely been putting in a lot of work over it, and it's kind of messed up. Like, I will try to monitor my language there, but it is really kind of messed up on how they could actually link everything that's going on. There's like 30 to 50 planned work riots over the U.S. alone. It's crazy that the media isn't talking about this, but I can see why they aren't, given they just had to piss poor job report. Yeah, no, right? Like, they need to be talking about this, and that's why I want to be talking about this, because nobody else is talking about it. So, getting the word out and making sure that people know what's going on, it's ridiculous. Thanks for what you do, Kenna. Speaking of Publix, when I was picking up some goods there today, I grabbed a pic of the closed BOA right next to the such great foot traffic. I wonder why they're closed. Yeah, right. Like, why is well, wait, bank, like, was it shut down completely, or was it just closed today? 'Cause banks were closed today. Like, was it boarded up and, like, just done? Do I dare book a flight with Southwest? So speaking of that craziness alone, oh my goodness. The fact that they're sitting here trying to be like, oh, it's the weather down in Florida. The weather made us not be able to fly. I'm sorry, guys. I hate to break it to you, but it's been a beautiful few days here in Florida. No rain. Not really too windy, so I mean, it's been perfect. It's been like the best days of probably the last month. So, yeah, we're just gonna ignore the fact that air traffic controllers walked out and pilots are getting ready to walk out. We'll just ignore that stuff. It signs up. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Hello?
Oh yeah, Hambone was actually flying his drone on that day, so it was good conditions. Hey Monk, what's going on?
What's going on?
Not
Man, so many news. Oh, God. So many things to talk about. I can make a list.
well. I mean, you already did. So if you want to run down through that list.
That's true. I did make a list. Here's kind of like a general thing going on. And this is only for the U.S. economy and like several sectors of the U.S. economy. Obviously, like you were just talking about earlier, supply chains, so ports. I live in California. Long Beach isn't that far away from me. It's so bad. Like ships are waiting there for 2 weeks before even getting into the ports. And I posted something on the trade chat text, showing you like actual measurements to show you how bad supply chain issues are. Um, Also, because a lot of news media is saying, "Oh yeah, it's starting to relax a little bit." It's not. Now, then you have the airports. That's going to affect supply chain issues as well. Now, my fear is if truckers start to protest as well, that's going to be a huge, it's just going to increase that supply chain issue. Um, Obviously, we have CPI increasing, you have unemployment increasing. Now, with unemployment, my theory is if people are starting to lose their jobs, this is only going to end up increasing it. And so I work as a firefighter. A lot of firefighters in LA City and LA County, for example, 50 something, 55% of firefighters here have been fully vaxxed. So the rest have not. And a lot of them have not. And they're suing the county. They're suing the city because they don't want to be vaxxed, or else there's an ultimatum. You get it or you get terminated. So a lot of people, if that does come true, it's just going to increase unemployment, and I can't see how that's good for the entire economy. And that's my theory with that. Obviously, inflation is rising. Oil and gas is rising. There has been fairly talks of tapering and increase in interest rates, but that hasn't been like really a concern. But there is still that. Obviously, housing market is still rising. Commodities and it is an issue right now. E-commerce. So we have so many sectors that are in a very troubled state, and that's just specifically America. We can talk about like the UK or Europe and their energy crisis. Right now, I just saw a report that because of the energy crisis, the UK steel manufacturers won't be able to produce enough steel because of how expensive energy is. So there's going to be a problem with steel manufacturing. It's really, I think there's things are starting to be not collapsing, but there's just signs of things hurting, and there's just so many things. Why? If you guys want to talk more about it.
Well, hey guys. Oh, I didn't know I could make myself a speaker now. Oh boy, I have better rights. Yay. But well, no, that's a crazy list of issues, and I've seen a lot of the stuff that you put out, which is really good information. If you like anybody in here wants to check out some of the stuff that Monk has posted in the Discord, it's really good. I've been going through it. I haven't been talking about it a lot, but yeah, I mean on the UK steel thing, like I mean I'm a steel guy. I follow that a lot. Yeah, the natural gas prices have really been hurting them, but like ArcelorMittal did pretty well today. I think the iron ore prices are coming back up, which is kind of supporting them. And I mean, there's been a lot kind of going on in the U.S. steel industry, but yeah, I mean, in general, I mean, energy everywhere. Oil keeps increasing. Um, I had seen some stuff in the past week where in the UK they were having to give military exports to gas trucks because they were having either fears incidents or both of, people trying to basically attack and steal the shipments of gas on their way in. So, yeah, a lot of macro factors.
That's crazy. I didn't even hear about them stealing it or trying to steal it. uh, Now, what's funny is about coal. Um, the two countries that use up coal or need coal as a means to their energy is India and China. Unfortunately, China's having a huge energy crisis right now. And one factor is because they tried to produce a country to be fully carbon free. The irony in that is they needed coal in order to produce all the electronic vehicles, all the batteries, and everything else. And this is just one issue of why they're having a coal issue right now. But obviously, coal is
Yeah.
what is there's several things happening in coal right now, but that's just a very ironic twist to the energy crisis in China.
Well, yeah, it's huge. And I mean, you still need coal to produce electricity in most cases. And yeah, I mean, China, like if you want to talk about their steel industry, I mean, they've been really cutting production. There's been like mandated production cuts like by the government. And I mean, some people are speculating it's because of the Olympics and the air quality and, things that they have coming up. But I mean, if I just think about China, I mean, they're, they came to the Industrial Revolution late. They've accelerated ridiculously. I mean, the scale that they have in terms of the way that they're able to grow their economy is pretty insane. Obviously they do it a little bit differently than we do, but yeah, I mean, China and India, when it comes to energy and just pure like production and industrialization, they're polluting their own countries, right? Like you don't live in China and say, oh, there is no global warming or there's no such thing as, smog and all that kind of stuff, right? You get out and see it every day. And so I think they're finally starting to realize that and trying to change course a little bit.
And I did read or heard today that, my parents told me that if someone in California, Monk, you're in California, that you guys can't use gas-powered mowers or something.
California banned the sale of gas-powered.
I've
Ban
heard
the
talks
sale.
about that.
Ban the sale. Hambone was just telling me, ban the sale of gas-powered mowers. Like, what?
Yep.
Quick shout out. Hey, Pam. Hey, Can't Stop. Guys, I'm glad you could join us.
I hadn't heard that. Maybe my mower might be worth more money now.
Could be. I mean, it could be like 7 shares of GameStop now if you can't buy them. You guys are holding on to some gold now.
Black market.
Oh my gosh.
Man, I got these steel mowers, man.
I mean, it's just craziness. Like I don't know what is going on over there in California, but like, and then I heard something about your guys' water. Like, you guys are going on with a water shortage. I mean, that's a normal thing in California, but like, there's been a lot of restrictions. Can you guys touch on that?
Where I'm at in Orange County, we haven't started getting new water restrictions or anything like that yet. I expect they're probably coming. Previously we had to, supposed to be taking shorter showers and, watering our grass and things at certain days of the week and certain times of the week, and it gets pretty crazy.
Like I work for the Forest Service, right? And so one of the things they implemented was we cannot buy any more gas powered chainsaws. We can only get electronic chainsaws, which it is worse to get. It's not quite efficient enough as a gas powered chainsaw. So
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, yeah, and I
I-
mean this might be dumb, but I mean I guess you're using the chainsaws like outside of a certain area and stuff like that. But I mean if things get out of control and batteries start exploding, that doesn't sound good.
yeah,
A lot of things don't make sense. I mean, I'm getting electric rates going up yet again, and their reasoning is that we're raising rates on the time of use plans because more at this point in the day the solar systems are shutting down and more people are using power. And it's like, well, stop taking away our coal and nuclear plants then, and we won't have that problem. But
no, we got to be green, man.
yeah, we
Gotta
keep
go green.
pushing all the coal and nuclear plants, and solar power seems to go away at night. It's miraculous. I don't understand.
Okay, so
It's because you don't know science, man. I know science. Go green.
And then the whole electric car thing. It's like everybody wants to run green and run off electric cars. It's all fine and dandy, but where do they think all that power is coming from?
It's-
We're not feeding that much power from green, although California's going for it.
I just don't understand. Like, so here in Florida and most of the southern states, most other states, like the thing that really ticks me off is the fact that they stopped doing controlled burns to help reduce the wildfires. Monk, I know you've been fighting those all year and you're finally off, so that makes me happy. But how bad was it this year? Like, I don't feel like it got reported on as much as it did in previous years. So was it actually as bad as the previous years, or was it actually pretty manageable?
It was actually this year wasn't too bad actually. It was not as intense as previous years.
Yeah,
Yeah, like in California. I mean, yeah, we have like two major fires, but it wasn't like devastating, and yeah, it's just not over. It's just not as bad. But like you were saying about controlled burns, prescribed burns, like here in California, there's a huge political issue with controlled and prescribed burns, just because people don't know that fire doesn't always equal bad. Fire actually helps the forest. Fire helps the soil, kills off parasites, kills off mold and things that kill the trees. Yeah, and other things to it.
Well, yeah, because like we have, I think of the Panhandle here, and it's a bunch of like really thin, tall pine trees for the paper mills and things like that. And I can think, I mean, before Michael hit, driving through Tyndall, I mean, that's all that was just these tall, beautiful pine trees. And every 3 to 6 months they'd go through and do sections for controlled burns. And I mean, it was interesting and terrifying at the same time to drive through 3-mile stretch of road when there's fire maybe on both sides. But there's obviously fire engines and things like that on either side of the road trying to control it or whatever. So, but it makes the trees, correct me if I'm wrong, Monk, but it makes the trees a little bit more resistant to that fire, right? Because they become used to it and they can kind of protect themselves. Am I wrong in that? Did I hear that wrong a decade ago?
It depends on the species of trees too. There's like, for example, the big sequoias. They're one of the species that actually benefit the most with fire. For example, the only way it can even grow, like the seedlings can grow, is if there's a fire. But yeah, the trees will get used to the fires and stuff like that, and it just depended on the species. But yeah.
Thank you for that. Yeah, and I guess I just never understood why they were like, because I remember it was like Trump, talking about, telling, who is it? Is it Newsom out there? No.
yeah.
Yes. I'm getting this, guys. Where he's like, hey, you guys need to really ramp up your controlled burns, make sure that they're the foliage and everything, the undergrowth is, wiped away and everything else. And he, instead of actually like listening to that, he was like, no, screw off, man. Like, we're just going to stop altogether. And like that year was terrible for wildfires. I will never forget that, because my sister, being out in the mountains, she would talk about it all the time and like what was going on. So
Yeah, I was in Yosemite in July, and I mean, there was nasty, nasty fires there, 2 years ago now or so, maybe 3. But I mean, there's tons and tons of downed trees and foliage all over the place. And I think it, could probably use some controlled burns before it lights up again. But yeah, we need to be taking better care of, the forests. And trees do a pretty good job of killing off the weak, and the bigger ones grow taller and take all the sun anyway. But ultimately those younger, weaker trees that end up falling over become firewood and or kindling, and all that stuff needs to be dealt with, or it's just primed and ready to burn.
Or you can get those lumber, or the trees make lumber and sell it, because lumber is a pretty nice pricey commodity right now.
Oh yeah, I'm on board for that. Let's bring in private sellers that are or private lumber folks, and say, you're allowed to pull these marked trees or anything like that, and let the commercial entities come in and do their work and haul it out themselves, and they can do a lot of the work for us.
That'll never happen in California.
No. That would be too smart.
So, Monk, you had more of on your list. I mean, like, your list was kind of intriguing. Do you have anything else you want to bring up off your list that you think that needs to be reported on?
Oh yeah, so I think I covered everything about America earlier. I think in let me pull up my list. Just give me 1 minute. There's just so many things out there.
Well, and that's the thing, right? So that was the whole point of mine and Hambone's, like, 2 timelines, right? Like, what the media is reporting on and what's actually going on. Like, I think that is something that's going to be really vital here very soon, because there's just so much going on. And it's like, and as Hambone said last night when we were talking about a lot of this, he was like, it's a shit show. It's 100% a shit show. And if you even just take one thing away, it's still a shit show. Like, there's no escaping what is going on in the world right now. And it's like, I am, as you guys know, a pretty uppity person. Like, I am an optimist as much as you can be. And I even looked at him last night and I was like, what the hell do we do? Like, how do you even brace for a lot of this? So, no, I love that you made that list, because I've even made one. I think I tweeted it out a few weeks ago. Just topics that no one's talking, like the mainstream is not talking about. And I'm sitting here going, all right, so we need to start blowing the lid off of most of this, because it's getting ridiculous. And, people just listen to CNN or whatever, the mainstream, like, they're not getting the full picture. They're just getting bits and pieces, and it's only one side of it. And, because I'm not saying, like, just go listen to CNN or MSNBC or Fox News or whatever. I'm not saying just go listen to all of it. I mean, that is the best thing you can do at this point, just so that you can get every side and you can kind of figure out the middle ground. Like, okay, what are they actually talking about here and what's going on? Because I think that the interesting thing that I saw, it had to do with the border. It had to do with the border, and how they portrayed what was going on with the Border Patrol using their horses. That was interesting, because you had one side that was, that even the government was like, oh, they're whipping people, blah, blah, blah. And then, the other side was like, no, they're just the reins. They're trying to control these horses and everything. And so, to whatever you believe and see or think or whatever, it's fine. But that's what I mean, is like, that is one extreme to the other, right? Like, how are you supposed to keep up with this?
Yeah, right. And everything is about making things look better than it actually is. And clearly, by the list I made and from what I've been seeing, it's actually really bad. Like, things are not looking good. And if we think about 07, 08, like, during that whole event, from '07 through '08, it looked completely fine. Like things looked fine externally, like, oh yeah, nothing's going on, the market's great, keep buying those CDOs and keep buying houses. Really, it wasn't. And I've been seeing the activity of SPY and NASDAQ. Yeah, it's starting to actually show some resistance finally. But you look at the chart and you just see how much it's just been pumped. So much. And this is what happens is that you have the feds continuously printing money to justify the way the market is actually looking. But really, when you start to dig just a little bit, you're starting to see, wow, it actually it's more messed up than it actually is.
You're absolutely right. I mean, Jay, K-Stop, I do see your thing. We have not touched on that yet, and I will in just a moment. But Jake says, there are so many big companies calling for a downturn. What is keeping the market up if the big boys are selling? Literally, they are padding it as much as possible, in my opinion. In my opinion, they are throwing as much money into the economy as they can, or the stock market and stuff, as they can, because they see what's happening. They can see it. If they don't see it, then God help us. But in my opinion, they've been just kind of padding, the S&P, the Dow, the NASDAQ, real estate, bond markets and things. They've been trying to pad it to brace for impact. But I think that's actually going to make it worse. If anyone wants to correct me if I'm wrong, I would love that. But your opinions?
No, I mean, I agree in general. I mean, in terms of what's keeping them doing it, I mean, it might just be lack of a suitable alternative, right? Like, I mean, we've said that housing prices have continued to go up, so real estate may not be a good alternative investment right now. If you look at bonds, like the interest rates are extremely low. Like, you have people putting money into the overnight reverse repo because they're getting better yield on that than they are a 1 month treasury. Okay, they could keep it in cash, but inflation's super high, so they're just burning money. So, what are you gonna do? I don't know. I mean, you've got precious metals, maybe. I mean, we talk about those markets sometimes, and I mean, they do seem to be heavily manipulated. You've got crypto, but that's kind of the same way. Very volatile. A lot of the real big boys aren't super comfortable with that yet. So, I mean, that's basically when I look around, I mean, that's the conclusion that I come to is that, I'm trying to keep some dry powder because I see it coming. But at the same time, if my money shouldn't be in equities, where should it be?
Yeah, that is actually the number one question, right? I mean, Hambo and I are okay, should we take our money out of the bank? And because Coinbase, we have a card for our Coinbase accounts, so we can use that as just a regular, to pay bills or whatever. But I'm just okay, so should I go put this into crypto, which is volatile? Yes, it's stupid. But there are stable coins that you can actually put it into and gain interest and make money on. So I don't know, there's some different things that I'm looking at the moment. I don't know.
But for crypto, for example, I really think that the crypto market is going to be a part of the whole event of things ultimately going down, just because there's been a lot of talk with Tether and their influence with, not influence, but what, Evergrande? Is it Evergrande or I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah, I think Evergrande. Yeah,
I mean, you can say Evergrande, but I don't think that's how you say it. But
no, it's not South American. It's China.
yeah. So with their talk of, I read this article about Tether and how and their commercial papers and how EG, I'm just going to call him EG. EG's somehow holding onto these commercial papers, but there's some sort of transaction with Tether in it, and they've been trying to hide it. If someone has more info, please tell me. But this has been in my mind for a while. But yeah,
Well, Yeah, I mean, you could be talking about something different than what I'm like recalling. I mean, I remember like something like a few weeks to a month ago. I mean, it came out that that Tether. I mean, a lot of it, like it's supposed to be a stablecoin, right? It's supposed to mirror like the dollar, and so it's supposed to stay within like a certain range. But the way that they did that is by supposedly like having it backed, kind of like a U.S. currency formerly was. But I think a lot of the things that they're holding to back it is like unsecured commercial paper, and I don't know if it's specifically Evergrande, but I mean, when you hold unsecured commercial paper, like that's what we're seeing play out with Evergrande is that risk, right? Like they're missing interest payments. Like if it's unsecured, then you're a bondholder, you're way down on the bankruptcy event liquidity type list, right? So the secured bondholders are going to get paid first, and then preferred stockholders, and then common stockholders if there's anything left, and then the unsecured paper's way down there. So I mean that's what I know about it. But again, you could be working on an updated set of information.
No, that's exactly it. Actually, that what you just said was exactly what I was reading, but it was specifically toward Evergrande and their commercial papers.
Huh.
So yeah, it's not looking good.
All right, so
Yeah, and I mean,
go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say, like, I don't mean that, like, I don't want to make it sound like I'm against crypto. I mean, I'm not saying that crypto is not a good place for that money to be. I'm just saying, like, if you're a hedge fund, or if you're like a Goldman or a J.P. Morgan, or if you're basically like a hedge fund or a prime broker, like they're just not there yet, in terms of understanding it and getting it set along with their risk tolerance.
Right.
All right, so we're gonna switch gears just a little bit. So Can't Stop says, sorry came in late, but was wondering if we touched on Ryan Cohen's tweet in Florida GameStop. The NFT.com is in Florida from tomorrow to the 14th. Bullish AF. Let's see. Wait, nope. Sorry. Where did your other one go? GameStop. I didn't know there was an NFT con. I'm pretty sure he was at a local mall here. I know that floor. Yeah, I'm really curious as to which one he was at. Some people are thinking it was Tampa, some are thinking Miami.
Yeah, I mean, I saw people say Aventura, which is like just north of Miami. I'm not sure though.
Yeah, so I mean, what do you guys think about that? Like him, being close to the NFT convention or whatever.
I don't know. It's pretty cool. It's pretty exciting. I mean, I don't know what to say about it. I mean, there's been a lot of speculation like over the months in terms of NFTs and GameStop and what GameStop could do with NFTs, and I mean, it's still wide open. There's a ton of things that they could do with NFTs. Some like really closely relate to their business, and some more closely relate to their stock. And I think they all could be exciting. Like, there's a lot of potential. I mean, there's, the social media space, we've been seeing like more kind of connections, or, people claiming like proved connections of like certain individuals, right? Like back with the company that are definitely into this. I mean, they are doing a lot of hiring and a lot of positions. Some of them are related to those kind of things. We have the website. I mean, we know they're doing something, right? But cards so close to the chest as always. And I mean, I'm sure everybody saw like the 741 in there, right? Like 7 games, 4 controllers, 1 console. Lovely little Easter egg as always from RC, but
I actually didn't see that. That's so awesome. Yeah, I didn't actually see that one. I saw the what is that game?
Among Us.
Yes, that.
Yeah. Yep. Well, no, that's what I woke up to this morning. I didn't see it last night. I went to bed early because I was flying down to Florida this morning. But that's what first thing I get up and fly into Florida, and I see RC tweets, and he says Florida sunshine, and I'm like, oh, that's great. But yeah, I don't know, super interesting. Hyped as always. I mean, he looked quite serious in that picture, though. I think it was not super bubbly, super smiley like he has been in so many others.
I think he's just tired of the shorters. I really do.
Yeah. I mean, he was wearing all black. He was wearing shorts.
He was. I mean, he was looking a little short. No, I'm just kidding. We can sit here and speculate all we want.
It's super serious time.
It's so crazy though. Like, you know, like you said, like they've talked about NFTs. Like it's been an idea that's been thrown around. They're developing teams to go into the blockchain space and everything. So, I mean, maybe he's checking out some different companies, you know, to see who can actually help launch the NFTs and stuff, or get some ideas. I don't know. It's definitely pretty interesting, and I don't know. I'm wait and see, guys. Wait and see. Like, I mean, that's the thing though, like, right, is that we can't gosh, I can't even guess anymore what's going to happen, because this year has just been so crazy. And I mean, how do you, I think back to like January through March, right? When everybody, you know, the DD, the, you know, the digging, the really true deep dives. Sorry, I'm so at a loss of words today. Where we were gathering data and, you know, looking into different forms and creating Excel spreadsheets and all this other stuff. Like, we're actually to the fun part of DD. I saw that too, Skipta, his beard was diamond shaped or something. I saw that too. I was like, goodness, maybe that's just his face structure. I don't know. But I mean, this has kind of been these have been fun DD days, in the terms of GameStop, AMC, whatever, because it is just, we're just waiting. We know we're right. And I think that's the best part. And that's why we get to have a little bit more fun, because we're seeing it all fall into place, right? Like the articles are getting a little bit harsher. They're, you know, the fact that they're trying to, you know, was it Gary Gensler? He's calling it out. He's like, I'm trying to put a stop to this crap, this, you know, meme stock and crypto, you know, manipulation and all this other stuff. Like he's seeing it. He's hearing us, guys. I'm not saying that, you know, I fully have faith in what he can do, because, well, he's just one guy. But I did read an article that said, someone that wouldn't actually, like, they wanted to stay anonymous, but they would never bet against him. And that says a lot. If someone's never willing to bet against somebody in that kind of stature because he never loses, that's kind of huge. Skinto question, is Hambone a bowler? Well, he is. Well, he likes to bowl.
Not a bowler. If I had more time, I would love to go bowling.
If he had more time, he would love to go bowling. When you get,
on the team in high school.
oh, when you get 4 strikes in a row, they call it a ham bone. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, he's smiling, guys.
Everybody knows 3 strikes, turkey.
3 strikes is a turkey. I knew that one. I didn't know the ham bone was 4 strikes. That's pretty good. No, so for those that don't know, ham bone is actually a nickname he got while he was serving in the military. Pretty early on, actually, he got that nickname, just based on our last name. So, it's just a funny thing. So he just kept it, because I from what I hear, and any military guys out there, it's pretty cool whenever you do actually get a nickname versus, like, 'cause he got it as a private, like an E1. He got this nickname very early on. So, like, no one really ever called him by his rank, which is kind of funny. So yeah, his rank was Hambone. That was it. So that's where that name comes from. Let's see. 100 to 200 by the end of year we're expecting. For what, Eddo? For AMC or GameStop? Because GameStop's what, 180, what was it, 180 something today? I don't know. It's, and they moved very similar today, which I kind of enjoyed. It's like, oh, look at you guys. I didn't look into which ETF if they were manipulating into the ETFs today. But I was AMC, GME, and which tech was it? One of the tech stocks. All kind of had the same charts today. So it told me that there is an ETF.
So apparently on AMC, Iceberg covered their shorts today. Does everybody remember Iceberg Research?
They covered their shorts.
And maybe
today.
it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't today. They announced that they covered their position. There was a few months ago. There was like this Twitter account, Iceberg Research, that came out and they were like, "We're short AMC," and it was a big deal. Upset a lot of people. People did some research into them, said that they were a one-man operation, and it was this, tiny little thing. I mean, they did come out ahead on it, but yeah, there were a few announcements about that where they announced that they covered.
Very interesting. I do remember reading about Iceberg back, because I'm not gonna lie, guys, because I do read so much, but so I saw someone was like Iceberg short, and I'm thinking like the lettuce, like that's where my brain was like, oh, okay, it's one of those days. It's one of those days where I did a lot of stuff, so for some reason iceberg lettuce came into my head, so that's the only reason I even remember iceberg being a thing. So very interesting that they covered.
Yeah, well, and I mean, there's analysts throwing out updated price targets for like the theater industry too. Like, I mean, I didn't read the article, but I saw a headline today that some analysts put some updated price targets out, like on their competitor and stuff like that. But I mean, overall, I mean, that industry does seem to be rebounding more strongly than people thought it was going to. I know the box office numbers from this past weekend weren't quite what they thought it was going to be with the new James Bond film, but I mean, they were still good, and they were still kind of within that range. And there's a lot still coming out, so we've talked a lot in the past. I mean, AMC's not really a fundamentals play. I still don't think it's a fundamentals play, but the fundamentals improving. I don't think any of us are going to complain about that.
No, I won't complain about it. Not at all. No, I don't know. I'm curious. I mean, hell, if you have one institution covering, that means that some of the others are going to have to start following suit, right? Like, because they're the ones that are going to start bumping these stocks up here very shortly. Because, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, like, retailers, like, we bump it a little bit, but we're at this point that we need the big money coming in. Like, I mean, let's face it, the apes are pretty much tapped out, right? It's, yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. Most apes are tapped out, unless you guys are, unless people are doing other plays and then taking that money and putting it into AMC, GME, or whatever, doing crypto and putting it in. I don't know. I think, shorts are starting to cover. Well, hold on tight, guys.
Yeah. I mean, that was one of them. I mean, they entered their position, I want to say, like in the low 50s. And I mean, they covered here. So, like I said, they made a profit out of it. They weren't one of the ones that were, incredibly in trouble. But I mean, it is, obviously they're seeing something, right? Like, they're seeing a reason to cover. I don't think they would just do it out of nowhere. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. Holding still does something. It's not, yeah, there may not be a lot that are, buying as much as they were. Maybe there are. I mean, it's really, it's really hard to say. But I mean, going back to what you were saying about GME earlier, I mean, I don't know that I've been, more comfortable in my position. It's one of those things. I mean, I don't know, for me personally anyway, I mean, I kind of, I don't know, I've become more zen with the whole thing the longer I hold.
I am 100% with you. Like, I am, I think you can agree, like, January through May, we were all pretty uptight and just constantly watching and constantly looking and reading as much as we could. Now it's like, okay, I check it maybe 4 times a day. Like, if there's some major movement, yeah, I'm watching it more or less. But I'm like 4 times a day. Like, basically when I wake up, everyone knows I wake up around noon. Like, I'm sleeping through the first part of market. Like, let's face that. About noon, and then roughly around 2:30, kind of hour. I got to keep that one up. Market close, and then somewhere in like the after hours, like 6 to 7:30 time frame. Like, that's when I look at it. But until there's some major movements, I don't need to be looking at my screen, my charts all the time. Because like right now I'm not trading much. I'm just, if I'm trading anything, it's my cryptos. That's about it. Like, I'm pretty stagnant right now.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, day-to-day price action is day-to-day price action. I mean, it's just kind of, it is what it is, ebbs and flows. But yeah, until we see some real moves. And yeah, this probably wasn't one. I mean, today was a good day, green day. Always good for, always happy on a green day, especially like considering the overall market too. I mean, I was looking. I was saying the opposite of this. I remember last month, but I mean, pretty much my whole portfolio was green today, and almost everything was this morning. But then, it everything kind of flagged off. I mean, a lot of the indexes, it was kind of a gap and trap on SPY. It seems like, right? Like you had trap longs at the top there mid morning, and then it just died off the rest of the day. But vast majority of the portfolio ended green, so it was a good day in that regard.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, it was a weird green day for me. Like, I don't know, like, and GH said SHIB keeps doing things. It really does. Like, it's been doing some funny things today. Like, it got up to 32.12. Mind you guys, for those that don't know, there's 4 zeros before that. For those that don't know, and it's sitting at 30.54. So the fact that it's holding steady at the 3,000 mark, I'm pretty happy with it. Let's go, little coin. It's become kind of I've been trying to kind of learn the community. It's been kind of a fun community. It's kind of like the Doge community, but different in different ways. And I love that some of the DD that people are doing on it, and the creator of Shiba Inu, they have is it the Satoshis? I'm learning, guys. Bear with me, but they have these NFTs that they're coming out with that's actually supposed to burn some of Shiba Inu pretty drastically. So that's pretty cool. The fact that
I'm sitting on millions of sheep.
I think we have like 3 million between me and Hampo.
Not much money worth, but
Yeah, no, not at all. Like, it's under $100. Like, I mean,
I've seen people say, "Oh, it could go to $1." It's like, I don't know about all that. Let's go for the moon, but breaking, all of the. I think $1, if I remember my math right, I think $1 breaks all of crypto's current market value combined.
Yeah,
that's pretty unheard of.
I mean, I'm not ruling anything out. I'm not saying it will go to $1. A penny. Let's start at a penny. Let's start at a penny.
Some insane, popular run, and I would be a little afraid of people that could be, buying, FOMOing in at the end of that.
Oh yeah, no, I don't. I go back to Bitcoin. I know this won't be like Bitcoin. I'm not saying it's gonna be $50 some odd $60,000 coin, but Bitcoin. I remember Bitcoin, and everyone's like, oh, it'll never hit 10 cents. Oh, it'll never hit $1. It'll never hit whatever. Okay. Like, come on. And, you know, any of these, you know, Algo or ADA or any of these, you know, any of them have the potential because they're trying to find uses for crypto. GS says it can't go to a penny. Never say never. They said that Doge couldn't go to a penny. Okay, it would be the largest company in the world. I mean, yeah, 100%. I mean, 100%. But I don't know. I don't rule out crazy anymore. Guys, 2020 happened. 2021 is even crazier, especially in the financial world. I don't rule out crazy because if you would have told me 3 years ago, we'll go back 3 years ago. If you would have told me 3 years ago, I would be sitting here looking at the financial world and going, holy mother. And, you know, that the stocks that, you know, some of us are invested in, like GameStop's a good instance. If you know, Hambo and I, we looked at GameStop for years and it was just sitting very stagnant. And so the fact that it's at $180 some odd right now, that's insane. That's kind of crazy. Good night, Pam. Thanks for coming in. And actually, we are.
I mean, what was Doge hit? What, 72 cents? I think 73 cents, and
Yeah.
that was pretty insane.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like Doge hit almost $1. Doge was very close to hitting $1. Hey, Cash, I'm bringing you up. It was very close. So I don't rule out crazy. I never will. Cash, I accepted your. Yep, there you are. Hey, Cash.
Hey guys, if Shiba went to $1, that's like 400 trillion.
Like I said, I don't think it will. I just don't rule it out. Yeah, I just don't rule it out.
It'd be a crazy market cap.
Yeah, it would be. It would be so crazy. Who knows? Who knows what this crypto world's gonna do at this point?
I guess if there's, huge amount of burning, then that could certainly open possibilities. But I mean, you have to
That
burn.
would help. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's where, you know, still like for me, like with stuff like that, I mean there's something to be said for meme coins. There's something to be said for, you know, store of value and this and that. But I mean, I think eventually crypto will become more competitive, right? Like now a lot of it is like a moonshot game, but at some point, like there can't just be coins that continue to get created like for whatever purpose and for them to all demand value. Like I think the crypto industry will evolve just like any other industry does. And there's always going to be winners and losers. But yeah, like for something like, yeah, I guess $1 Shiba. I mean, it's not impossible, to Kenneth's point, certainly. I mean, crazier things may have happened. I don't know, like Zimbabwe inflation and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I just think over time, I mean, there's a lot of different, you know, semi-value propositions floating around for crypto, but I'm interested to see kind of like what the next step is for the space.
I think crypto is early still, and it's like the wild, wild west.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And
Jackie said there's going to have to be winners and losers.
Yeah, GS said it.
Lots of room for speculation as the world adopts and catches on.
Oh yeah. I mean, no, and I mean this is where I've talked about like technology in itself is so infant, right? Like it. What are we talking? 30 years maybe? You know, for what we, you know, home computers and you know smartphones have only been really around for what 11 years, 12 years. So no, like the technology alone is just such a infant, and so we don't know. I mean, I'm not. Maybe in 15, 20 years, you know, it can go to $1. I'm not. I just will never say it won't ever. You know, crazy things happen. But yeah, no, GS, you're right. You know, there's 40 trillion, I think, roughly $40 trillion in the world right now, like circulating. Like that's everything. No, and then, yeah, a $400 trillion cat. That's ridiculous. But I don't know. And that's where it's like, you know, I put out the price tag, you know, months ago of the MOAS, and you know the top. At that point, the top 8% of price was like was $1 or $2 trillion or something crazy. So yeah, I don't rule out crazy. I will never rule it out.
I think to hit 1 cent, I think we'd be at almost a $5 trillion market cap.
Oh my god.
Yeah, 1 cent would be about a $5 trillion market.
That's disgusting. That is absolutely disgusting. Because the large coin cap, it allows it to be much wider distribution. Yeah, 100%. Needs to be mined. And I actually am trying to figure out how to mine Shiba. Like, I mine Doge right now. I was trying to figure out how to mine Shiba and how hard it would be on my computer. But yeah. Alright, guys, we're gonna wrap it up tonight. If you didn't see the notice, go on my tweet. On my Twitter. Magazine was launched today. I am trying to figure out, because I'm going to be working on BullHouse website tonight and probably tomorrow and the next week or so, and I'm going to try to incorporate it so it's not on FlipSnack. Like, I'm going to be using FlipSnack to actually create, but I'm going to try to embed it into the website and try to do it that way so it's all in one place, so people don't have to go to like 1,000 places for BullHouse content. So keep a lookout for that. I hopefully will have that up and running within the next week or so. It'll be interesting, because like that's where I'm gonna have you know, the need to know information. So the basic education, financial literacy. So what is a stock? How do you get started with a broker? You know, kind of the BullHouse. And I'm gonna get some recommendations from you guys, like the recommended brokers, which ones you guys like to use. So I would love that kind of input. If you guys can, you know, DM me or put it in the BullHouse Discord or anything like that. And then just think, like, if you guys think of anything that you want as a need to know, something that would be free to everybody for financial literacy, that would be wonderful. I have a list of things I'm going to include, but I'm also going to be doing the junior section that we've talked about, where I'm going to need the teachers that are in the community to help kind of break it down for the younger investors and, you know, people that are in high school or just getting into college that don't understand quite investing yet, kind of figuring out a lesson plan type thing for them, whether it's through like video or just graphics or just reading. I don't know yet, but I look forward to working with the community on that aspect. So unmineable, but you need a solid graphics card to do SHIB. Being on the E. Yeah, 100%. I mean, we have custom built computers. We mine pretty easy. I can mine Ethereum. Not too bad, but Doge is just so much faster. And then I just convert it. So yeah. Do you guys have any final thoughts for tonight?
I do not. It's nice hearing everybody tonight.
Oh, we're good.
All right. I appreciate everyone that came up, and Monk had to leave. He had already told me that he had to leave, so I do appreciate him coming on tonight. It's nice to have him back. Hauser Existed, thank you for being up here. Cash, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. And I will see you guys tomorrow.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
See you guys.